I got to keep my eye on the road. So look, I want to talk about this Jedi mind trick that's being put on women about this feminine energy. There's an obsession about it. I don't get it. So let me say this. Number one, men and women, I do believe, have a spectrum of estrogen and testosterone. Now I know that's not the same thing as this so-called energy. It's these qualities. When you start talking about being feminine, right, there are these qualities that you can't necessarily touch, and not tangible, and it's very difficult to quantify. But this is what I will say. Men and women. Now, when I say men and women, I'm not thinking in terms of splitting hairs in terms and trying to play this word salad game with definitions. I'm talking about what most people consider to be a man and a woman. Those with an XX and XY set of chromosomes. Now listen, I do believe that men and women have a spectrum of qualities and traits and such. There are women who have more what we would consider to be masculine qualities. Maybe they talk a certain way, maybe they walk a certain way, maybe they don't have the softest physical features, maybe they don't choose to groom themselves, such as where they want to appear to be what society would deem as physically feminine. So whether it's from a makeup standpoint, whether it's from some sort of skincare routine, whether it's in the way that they're dressing, maybe it's in the way, or dressing in a way to promote their physical assets, maybe it's the way that they wear their hair, it could be whatever. And the same thing goes for men. Maybe they have more qualities where they want to I don't know, play with dolls. I don't know. That's a really bad example, right? This is what I'm going to say. We're so caught up on all this identity stuff, and now we're trying to push this so-called feminine energy thing. And I kind of hate it. Well, I don't kind of hate it. I do hate it. Because number one, femininity, I hate when people try to really narrow down what femininity looks like, especially in the Black community, okay? In the Black community, I feel like they're trying to paint this picture of femininity to look a certain way, first of all, before I get into this whole obsession. It seems like the wave, the movement, the trend right now for describing femininity is a bunch of Black women. Now I'm talking about within the Black community. A bunch of Black women who have, they look a certain way. They have certain skin tones, for sure. You don't see too many darker skinned women being promoted, right? Well, I have to pay attention to what I'm doing. Okay, so the idea of femininity in the Black community is a certain type. Everyone has the same wig, okay? Some don't, but everyone has the same wig. Everyone has the same makeup look. The really, really super thick eyebrows that look like they've been stamped on your head, that's the look. The super outlined lip, the over-exaggerated lip, the pouty lip, the makeup, all those things. And then on top of that, you'll hear women talk like this. Well, if you want to tap in your feminine energy, and they talk, everything is in proximity to men. There, and I just feel like, okay, so there's that. And then of course, then there's the, I would say the actions. They talk about being feminine. They talk about, not being combative and all these things. They talk about those things that are basically masculine traits. I would say this. I hate that we're trying to redefine femininity. If you're trying to talk to men and women and say, hey, look, What I'm looking for is someone who's not going to want to fight me on everything, right? I get it. Let me tell you something. As a woman, I don't want a man to fight me on everything. Let me tell you, my husband does not fight me on everything. Does that mean he's less masculine? Because most of the guys I know, his name is Dave. They used to call him Big Dave. He was considered like the penultimate. You gotta remember, he played sports in college, Division I athlete, all that good stuff, right? They definitely respect him. He's a big guy. He's well respected at work. Super smart guy. No one would consider him to be less than what people will call alpha male. Now, my husband is actually a big old teddy bear, maybe, because I know him, but no one would confuse him for being something other than, and I say earmarks, alpha male. I find this whole thing silly anyway. Let me just say this. I don't want my husband to be combative with me. But what I give him in return also is a non-combative person. Am I a doormat? Absolutely not. As you can tell from the persona you know here on this app, I am not a doormat. But I don't feel like fighting. And to be honest, my husband is not about that fight life. He's just kind of like, look, we're not arguing over, he's just not about that life. So that's not to say that we don't ever have a disagreement, but we're not trying to be fighting all the time. It takes too much energy. I'm like, what are we trying to do? But I want to get back to the Jedi mind trick of this feminine energy obsession. We've got people out here promoting, walk around and wear doilies, and I say that tongue in cheek. This is what they're promoting now as being feminine. And I'm like, I don't know if I would say that's feminine. I don't like, breaking down women and telling them what they are or not, although we all do it in some way, shape, or form. So if a woman wants to wear her hair short, in like a pixie hairstyle, whatever, and she has a beautiful face that can carry that off, and she chooses to be all natural, is she not feminine? Is she not feminine because she doesn't want to eat with her eyebrows? I'm waiting for that trend to be over too, with the overly done up eyebrow. Is she not feminine because she doesn't want to wear 2 pounds of eyelashes? I don't wear eyelashes, and I don't eat to my eyebrows either, right? I have on lip gloss. That's it. And it's not that I don't wear makeup, because I do. I wore makeup this weekend. But I just like having clear skin. It's just what I like. Does that make that woman not feminine? And so I feel like right now what we're doing is we have listened to all these whacked out men tell us that we're not feminine. And then you've got women getting on here creating whole channels on femininity and talking like this and making sure they don't move in these videos, they stay in the same position, and they say things like feminine energy, and they make it so that they are trying to strip away any sort of independent thought. You're not allowed to. You see what I'm saying? It sounds utterly ridiculous. It is ridiculous. I'm not saying they don't have any good points. I feel like I gotta qualify everything, and I'm gonna have to stop doing that too. I shouldn't have to qualify everything. I think that with these women, talk about is in proximity to men, because ultimately, in my opinion, I feel like the main goal is just to get a man. So then what? What about you? What do you want? What are your goals? But I just feel like there is this Jedi mind trick that has been placed on black women, and they believe now that they are no longer feminine. I'm like, wait a second. If you look at many of these trends, for women, other women are copying black women. You say black women are feminine, and yet so many other women although the so-called standard is European, but everyone's trying to get the black women's hairstyles, their makeup choices, in my opinion. They want their body aesthetic. I mean, now I think that's supposedly changing, going back to the thin aesthetic. But like, black women set all of these trends. And so you can't say it's not feminine if so many women are they're trying to adopt these trends. Clearly, they have decided that is feminine enough. Nevertheless, I feel like so many people, why are all these trucks near me? I'm like, yo, I'm trying to get around you guys. Let me pop in front of these cars real quick. I'm in a fast lane. I got to get in the middle to slow lanes to get around everybody. So anyway, I'm sitting here like, all of these women, are falling prey to the Jedi mind trick of not being considered feminine. It's a Jedi mind trick. There got black women who think they are no longer feminine. And I'm sitting here thinking like, black women stay trying to beautify themselves. Some of it's based off of European standards, some of it's just because they like looking pretty too. But they'll tell you you're not feminine, so they'll say things like overly educated is not feminine, right? Like, you automatically have an attitude because you think you're better. I'm like, well, no. I think the thing is, you need to start to level up. They'll have you think that if you're making a lot of money, that you're not feminine. And I'm like, well, no, I wouldn't go by that. I think many people don't measure up right now. And then, now I will say this. Black women oftentimes equate their money to value. Okay? I think their money is valuable. I don't know if it necessarily determines their value. That's a separate conversation, right? But getting back to this Jedi mind trick on like femininity, I feel like it is definitely not inclusive, right? There's so many forms of femininity, yet we're promoting one type of femininity. And much of that, I just really believe, is smoking mirrors. We're not even promoting a real woman. Everything is like, you have to look this way, you have to put on all this accoutrements, and you have to talk like this. I'm like, what do you really talk like? What do you really talk like? No one talks like this all the time. Who talks like this? I don't understand why you would feel the need to talk like this all the time. As a matter of fact, where I work with primarily men. They're actually out on a new contract. There's women there. But you don't get the luxury of talking like that. People aren't going to even take you seriously. And I'm not saying you have to bark at people. You just use your normal talking voice and just do your job. But all of this weird, fake, feminine obsession, I don't understand why they've got women talking that way, why they've got women dressing like they have to walk around like they're freaking Pollyanna or something. I don't get that. I don't get that at all. I think I had another point. I do believe black women have always been feminine. They have. I feel like what they're confusing is black women, when they were forced, there was a huge pendulum shift when many of the men were unavailable due to being unalived, due to the prison industrial complex. Some of it was our own doing, by the way. When we didn't have men in the home, black women had to take on being the breadwinners, the educators, the confidants, the consolers, or whatever like that. And then what happens is you have a group of women who had to be tough for survival. And then now you want to attack these women because they're still trying to get back to the point where they don't have to be everything. They get to be, I say with earmarks, soft. They get to be not that they want to walk around crying, but they can feel safe enough to cry, to express their emotion. It's tough. But I just want to say for the record, I don't believe in this stupid Jedi mind trick that's being pulled. Like, you've got women really believing now that they're not feminine, and they're going on following these channels, taking advice from women on how to be feminine. I don't even know if these women, like, there's so much we don't know about these women. We don't know what their background is, what life they live. We know what they portray on camera. We know what they portray on camera. Sorry, if you see me looking around, it's because, I'm paying attention, because people are popping and locking out here today. I'm like, what is going on? I'm like, I'm not going to have me caught out here. So I'm just looking. So, nevertheless, I wanted to get in the fast lane, but I don't know. Because after I merged into this traffic, I'm like, y'all go crazy over there today. What is going on? I think everybody's coffee has kicked in. I haven't even started mine. I just want to say for the record, can you guys see my cute little mug? Meow. Giants. Oh. I've got on, by the way, let me just say, I have on some comfortable clothing because we're doing a huge planning session today. And I want to be comfortable. Now look at these fools. See, this is the reason why I pay attention. I pay attention out here in the streets. Back to the obsession, because I'm looking hard. Black women have always been feminine. Even the so-called hood. Maybe they just had hood, and I say this with earmarks, tendencies. Maybe that's what you're thinking of. But nevertheless, they were feminine, but they were also trying to survive. So we have to call a thing a thing. I think we need to stop convincing black women that they're not feminine. I think black women have taken enough beatings. We've taken enough beatings. I just want to understand why we're turning this into a journey. That's the other thing. So what is the end goal of a feminine journey? What is the end goal? What does the journey look like? I'm going to presume, I'm going to guess, because I think I've heard something one time, and I need to go, you know what I need to do? I need to view some more of the content to see what they're saying. The problem is, I don't want to view the content, and then it gets all in my feed, because then I hate it, because then I have to keep saying, I'm not interested, I'm not interested, I'm not interested. But I feel like I did hear a couple of videos a while ago, and then I see all these thumbnails when they do pop up, right? And people will talk about, like, I think it was like on like your grooming standards. I think you have to curate the language that you use. You have to let people help you more, and I do believe in that. Let me tell you something. As highly capable as I am, I remember when I was dating, they were like, I want to help. I just want to help you. I'm like, oh, okay. I mean, I didn't like need it all the time, but there's times when I needed help. I didn't need to feel like, no, I want to. Now, granted, they were trying to holler, but I definitely had to allow for more people to like help me in my life. I think it made people feel useful. We all want to feel like we have a purpose and useful and all that good stuff. So I do agree with that, allowing people to help more. And it doesn't mean that you're weak or incapable. It just means a lot of times, if it is a man that wants to do that sort of thing, they just want to do it for whatever reasons. I don't know. I don't fight it. I'm like, look, any opportunity for somebody to make my life easier, to go ahead. Let me see. I'm sorry, I'm driving out here in the streets. Oh, this is the thing. I think that for whatever, I don't know what it is. This Jedi mind trick about femininity, I don't really feel. I think it's anti-sisterhood. I think, based off of what I'm seeing, I don't think I would ever want to be friends with any of those people. I don't think it includes women, all kinds of women, because femininity isn't just what they're talking about, and they're heavily focused on this aesthetic. They may say they're not, but they are. And I feel like it definitely excludes the woman. I use the pixie cut women, for example, because oftentimes they have like this really delicate bone structure that is so complementary to like the haircut, their face, and they're just beautiful, right? They're not walking around talking like this. They just have that aesthetic, and I don't think it's any less feminine, if you want to call it, from an outward looking thing. We're talking just purely like physicality. I feel like it doesn't include that woman. It doesn't include the woman who may have survived, a medical condition. It doesn't include the woman who just survived anything, a tough life, and now she's just kind of like, hey, I just want to rest for a minute or whatever. It doesn't include all the people. I think it's very anti-sisterhood. I don't understand, what does it mean to be on a femininity journey? What does that mean? Y'all gonna let me in. I'm just gonna take over, excuse me. Put a little power in the car, thank you. So anyway, I just feel like it's not inclusive of all kinds of women. It's like, if you don't have the wig and the stamped on eyebrows and 20 pounds of lashes and all that makeup, if you don't talk like this, if you don't have the right skin tone, right, it's not inclusive. And I'm not trying to make it seem like we got to include everybody and everything for every single talking point, but what I am saying is there's something inherently weird about this femininity movement and this whole like Jedi mind trick that they put on. Like, literally, women think, especially black women, they are acting like they are not feminine. And then they listen to men tell them that they're not feminine. I'm like, you know what? You must know a whole lot about femininity, because you're sure acting like you want to be a woman. You act like you want to be a woman. You're way up in women's business. Maybe you need to get some masculine traits. You need to focus on your masculinity and stop worrying about women's femininity. It's so weird. I don't know. I think that, I'm going to say this and let me get off. I think that there are women, I suspect they have low self-esteem. I suspect these women have low self-esteem because they are so focused on their appearance, and that's from a physical standpoint and from how the persona they put out. They are so hyper-focused on how they are perceived, and it's typically in proximity to a man. Anyway, these are just my both thoughts. And I had some more written down, but I'm more concerned about making sure I live versus reading my notes. So I'm paying attention. I'm almost at my place of work. Yes, I'm working the earlier time slots so that I can get home and get dinner. Like, my husband and I, we flip-flop on occasion so that each of us has a chance to either work early or work late or whatever. So I'm working early, not as early as he likes to go in. I get in somewhere between 6:30, 8 in the morning. I'll be there in the next few minutes. So yeah, I go in early so that I can get home, make sure the kids are fed, check work before we start running out to our sports commitments. But look, go ahead and hit me up. Let me know. Leave a comment. And let me tell you something. I know people get tired of asking people to subscribe, but go ahead and hit the subscribe button. You know you like me. You know you do. That's why you're watching right now. So go ahead and subscribe and leave a comment, your thoughts. We don't have to agree, just be respectful. If you're disrespectful, I'm probably going to just or delete your comment. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes I leave them out there because I'm like, all right, look at the shenanigans of this person. I don't mind if people disagree. I really, really don't. I just mind if you're disrespectful. So leave a comment. I actually like comments. I do try to get to every single comment, but I do work during the day. Look, leave a comment. Definitely subscribe. Like the video. Seriously. And then share it with people. And then you know what you need to do? Go back and watch all of my videos, because they're all amazing. Every single last one of them. Even the ones that you don't think are good are good. All right. I'm out.